Hey guys, it's M4J here, and welcome back to the Jeffries Network on OpenTTD. My voice is a bit funny today. I did mention in the last episode that I was feeling a little under the weather. That seems to be the case still, unfortunately. But we'll push on. Don't want to miss any videos or anything like that. So this episode is called The Aftermath, and that's pretty much what it is. We still have some remnants of high speed here. I thought I was finished with this, but I left the game running for a couple of days just to let the high-speed trains sort of bed themselves in. And then when I came back, the game had crashed. I think it's the trains crashing causing game crashing thing again. I haven't tested it, and I'm not going to start throwing around accusations like that. I think that's what the problem might be. It's happened a couple of times. So very shortly I will pause the game because I know that it can get through this train filling its timetable, because that's exactly what I did. I can't believe that I forgot to save the game, because that's something that I do all the time as a force of habit, and it does get quite irritating. A bit irritating like the sound of that javelin at the bottom of the screen there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so we're going to pause the game, and we're going to make these small and out of the way, because we're not worrying about high speed today. Today we are worrying about the aftermath. In other words, we're going to get the rest of the trains that we planned out in episode 200. We're going to get those out on track. So, let's start by going over to the big city. Which, I mean, I constantly say that this city is bigger than the last guard city. But actually, when I was getting those screenshots for the beginning of episode 200, which I have to say that's probably the best intro I've ever made to a video. If there's anyone out there scratching their head wondering how, that probably speaks more about my previous videos than it does about episode 200. But I noticed that the last guard city was actually slightly bigger, in that you could zoom out to, I think it was this level, and you can see here all the main terminus stations, including GSC, GSG, GSJ, GST, GSMA, GSP and GSMI are all on screen. And then you have the main station of Guard Lake in the centre as well. And yet on the last map, Guard City Exchange was over here somewhere. These two obviously didn't exist. GSMA was slightly further to the south. GSJ was over here somewhere a bit more. GSG was slightly more to the north. And GSP and GSMI are over here somewhere. So maybe the old Guard City was a little bit bigger. But Greater Guard City is sort of all of this area. That's a hell of a lot bigger than on the previous map. But we're not going to worry too much about that. We're going to look a little bit more into... I suppose I could tell you what I've altered on the high speed network over here as well, just to try and make life a little bit easier. First of all, the depot doesn't spit out onto this line anymore, like it used to. It used to come up, this line used to come across, and then they used to join up. That doesn't happen anymore. Instead, it goes, it's a bit weird how I've done this, but it goes underground here, up here, and then on a viaduct here, and then just joins up over here. What this does mean is this train here can still go to all four entry tracks here. It just means that whichever one it goes to, so if it goes down, underneath, and into this one, we can still have two trains leaving that go over these bridges. And I say two trains because I've added a third exit track here. So, in theory, we could have one train arriving, three trains leaving at any one time. And that should be... providing that the platforms line up, of course. So we have four high-speed non-railjet platforms here. As long as these are the three that are occupied, and the fourth one is coming into either the railjet platforms or this far right one here, we're okay. The trains work really nicely. Every now and then we get a bit of a queue, but it's nothing too bad. In fact, you can see here, this train can't go anywhere because there's currently a train that's going to come underneath and up like that, which is one of the Eurostars, yeah. It's still not carrying many people. It's a little bit inconvenient, but that might be because a lot of the wayside stations aren't actually connected to anything yet. We're going to start to change that with this episode. So, should we get into it? I think we should get into it. First and foremost, we are starting at GSG. Let me scroll up the list. Here we go. So Guard North is the name of this this first service, and I shouldn't have to change any of the tracks or anything because we should just be using what's already there. So we've got Great Northern here. I'm just going to create a new group, Guard North. That's going to sit quite nicely there. Now, did we have a... we had a northern trunk route. Yeah, northern trunk line. I think we're actually going to change this. So the first thing we should do actually is head over to the depot here, access the depots and sell all the trains, because we don't need them anymore. And that should be all of these now gone, apart from this one, but you are moving into Guard North anyway, so that's fine. So now I can get rid of all of these groups. Now, did that get rid of all of them? I think that did, which is actually very handy if that's the case. I mean, you can see how many trains we've got out online now. There are some gaps in the numbers, but we've got 902, or up to 902. As I said, there are some gaps, so I think we have, more realistically, I think we have 850 something. And the game still runs pretty smoothly, considering. I'm quite impressed. I thought it'd be really struggling at this stage, but we're still running okay. So that's good. Right, let's actually start planning out trains. We've been dithering for too long now. Let's actually do this. So this is a service that's going to run between GSG and Honningville. It's going to be pretty much identical to this train here. So I'm going to pin you. And I want some overhead electrification. Maybe this one, 75 miles an hour. It's quite nice. Like so. Scroll down. Now I think 5 is the platform length on these let me check that. Maybe they're not. Hang on. Yeah, they are. 10. Okay. So we want this to be like that. And then we're going to clone you, drag you up like so. Pin you, close the rest. You can see here, train 5. We did just delete a load of trains as well, which didn't help. Okay, so you're going to go through Guard City North Train Care. You do go through... Aha, okay, there's a waypoint there. Did I miss out that waypoint when I was doing these ones? I did. Ah, that explains it. That actually explains it quite well. Okay, so you go through there, non-stop via here, and then all the way down here to there, to there, to there, into GSG. I'm considering rebuilding this station throat again, but I think I'll do it off camera. There's too many conflicting movements. I think what I'm actually going to do is get rid of this depot and have trains, particularly on the overground network, have trains start elsewhere outside of Guard City, or at least outside of GSG's limits, and then have them come in with one service, depart with a different service. So let's say they come in from this side of the loop, they'll then depart this side of the loop, and then on the return they'll form the return service back to where they started from. That, I think, is how I'm going to do it. Although I'm not 100% certain on that, so don't hold me to that yet. That's going to be quite a big project, one that I'm not entirely looking forward to. So we'll have to see how well that turns out. Anyway, this is where we hop up and over there, and we go to there, and then we go... Now this depot isn't used much, but it can only ever be used by these two tracks. And I think this is actually supposed to be the depot that they start from. So I'll do that for now. Your service, your unload, no loading. You are no loading, no unloading. Okay. And then you are that and that. You are that and that. That and that. And at this point you run into Plinth Bridge proper. And then you go here and here. Excuse me. Right, Gunway Brewery. I didn't include actually. So we're going to go to Gunway Brewery. But I'm actually going to build a new station here that links up with this one. So you're Gunway West. So I'm going to do a little bit of track work today. Well, this isn't really track work, is it? This is just station work. The single-sided platforms. There we go. So we want some stairs that go down. Gunway West. I'm going to change the name to Gunway North. I don't actually think the cross-country trains stop here yet, but I will have some other services in the future that will stop here. So it will become an important station, let's say. Let's get some signs. One there like that. One there like that. I think I'm actually going to move the shelters to this end. Like so and like so. And then that and that and that and that. Okay, so if I include Gunway West, which includes adding a row on the list here. Gunway West 250. That doesn't really change the number of trains that we need on this particular service, but it's always nice to keep it accurate. There are no trains that stop here, are there? No. There are not. That's fine. Whilst I'm here then I can change this to Gunway Bridge. Named after either these bridges here, which are quite fancy, or this big high-speed bridge. And also whilst I'm here I'm actually going to change these to viaducts, and actually I'll keep them as cantilevers because we do have the javelins come over here at 140. Okay, I've got to stop saying okay, that's really annoying. Right, Flat Bridge is next. I will go through at some point, I know I've said it in the past, but I will go through and decorate these stations as well so that they look a little bit nicer. Alright, Donborough Branch, because I believe our next stop is Pleningbury. It is. And then over here, this is why we only need 5 tile long trains. This particular service is mostly so that the line here isn't overgrown anymore, because it's always a bugbear of mine. But it is also partly so that the northern services here actually have more trains to connect to. Because as you can see here, these tracks are clean, these ones aren't, which tells me that there's always need for more here. Right, you're going to hit Sindwood Waypoint, and then you're going to go into Honningville, this platform here, because you're going to terminate and then you're going to run back again. That should be the way. We'll find out. I'm actually tempted to remove this terminating platform because there are no trains from the north that will terminate here, because they'll all terminate over here, and I do want to make sure actually that that is the case. Yeah. There are only a limited number of services that run up here, and the food trains of course. So there's no point for this terminating platform, so I might as well get rid of it and change it. Either get rid of it altogether or turn it into another through platform. I'll have to see on that. Right, timetable. We might as well timetable these ones. They're fairly straightforward. This one's going to be 250. Sorry, 2,500. This one's going to be 750. The Honningville stop here is also going to be 750. These are like metro type services. They all run backwards and forwards, shuttling people between GSG and Honningville. And then from here there's plenty of other trains that you can get on to, especially these ones here, or even the express services to continue your journey. Bring this up, most importantly buffered auto, and then we'll do the speed limits. So the major speed limit is going to be 75, and that's pretty much going to be the case through all of this. I think it's 45 here. This is 15. This is 30. There's a dog outside my window again. How incredibly inconvenient. I quite like dogs. I think I said this last time. I don't mind dogs. I prefer trained dogs, because I did have an incident when I was younger with an untrained dog that was quite frightening. But yeah, the majority of the time I don't mind dogs. I think they're okay. It's just barking, yapping ones when I'm trying to work. It can be mildly irritating. Just making sure the owners aren't out there whilst I'm saying that. Yeah, it can be incredibly frustrating, as I'm sure you guys can understand. Right, from Don'tborough, the speed limit here is 45, I believe, and then I think it's 60 through this section here. Although, where's Honningville? There's Honningville. This one's obviously going to be 15. This one's going to be 30. And then the rest of these are all 60. Alright, so this is the first service pretty much ticked off. Just got to finish doing these speed limits and then we'll start working on the rest. I believe there are a couple more that actually come out of GSG, including... Aha! So the next one is also going to run... Okay, I think I see how that works. The next one's also going to run up as far as Narthingburg, so pretty much where we just were, up this way. But it's going to run as a semi-fast service, not as a... It runs on the express tracks for a short while, but not for the entire journey. Which I think is something that's quite important to remember. Wow, it's my job to remember that, to be fair. That's not what I want to change. I want to change this one. Yeah, this is the bit I hate. I wish there was just a thing where you could multi-select. Because as far as I'm aware, no, there isn't. That's what's missing from this game. The ability to multi-select different fields. Because right now, these are the ones I want to change from 75 to 60. And if there were ones where, if it was just like 50, and I wanted to change it to 60, then have a button where I could just change all of the 50s to 60s. Problem solved. There isn't one, which is quite irritating, but actually that's 60 as well. But here, if I could just multi-select numbers, so all of these ones here I wanted to change to 60, so if I could just select all of them and do change to 60, that would make life so much easier. But again, I don't know if there's any technical limitations to that. There probably is. Otherwise it would happen. 60 through Plint Bridge. I think it's 45 coming out of Plint Bridge, and then here it goes back up to 60. This is probably totally wrong, but oh well. There are no other trains running on this right now, so it really is what I want it to be. That should be 30, not 45. But then leaving, you are 30. You are wrong. 45. Pin that, unpin that. There we go. You are 60. You are 45 again. You are 15. And you are 10. Autofill. Get rid. Okay. I need 7 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we need the next train. Now the next train, as I say, is going to be a semi-fast service, so it needs to be the fast Electrostar. Maybe the 321s actually, because they can go 100 as well, and they're only overhead. So I think we'll go with those. Now these trains can be the full 12, but I think because of is that right? Yeah, that's an 8-car train, isn't it? Oh, the I'm going to replicate the Thameslink trains here. So that's an 8-car train. And you can even see where the pantograph is. That's quite smart. I hadn't noticed that before. So the new Class 700s, which are running on Thameslink, they're part of the Siemens Desiro family, I believe. Which pretty much every train that works on electrified lines in the UK at the moment is somehow related to that family. Like the 450s, the 350s, the 444s, the 442s, I think are part of it. Although now I've said that, I don't think they are. I think they were built externally. There's a lot of trains anyway that are part of the family. And I've just realised I've messed up here. Let me get rid of you. Game's paused at the moment, isn't it? So if I just do that, get rid of all of those, stop it again, select this one instead, clone, actually clone you, delete you, clone you. That's a really roundabout way to get this as train 5. You're train 6, you're train 5. Sell you, close you, you're good. Right, yeah, because I want to dispatch trains from this depot so they don't get in the way of the other working trains. It was the 321s, wasn't it? Yep. Now the 321s are not part of the Desiro family. If anything, the Electrostars, in fact the Electrostars I think are Bombardier. So they're not part of it either, but they closely resemble the Desiros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need to start learning how to do this properly. This is beyond a joke now. Right, high-speed carriages. Scroll down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then scroll all the way back up. Down a little bit. There, 3, 2, 1. Right. Are we done? Or is it all going to go wrong again? I think we're done. So you're going to go here. You're then going to go via this, this. Again, whilst I'm here, change it to non-stop via. All the way down here. And then via this one, there twice, this one. Yeah, I'm definitely going to redo this. Definitely. Tidy it up a little bit. Make it a bit nicer. Where do we get to there? Yeah, there. So then you're going to go via here. You're not going to go via Plinth Bridge this time, but you're going to go via there, and you're going to go to there. You are service. You are unload, no loading. You are no loading, no unloading. Select this, and now we start the orders proper. So here twice, here twice, and then here twice. Into Plinth Bridge, where you're going to stop twice, and then here we're going to go via the fast lines. So Plinth Bridge North fast, because your next stop is Don'tborough. So you get to go through all of this until you get to here, across there, and then there, and then into Don'tborough. After Don'tborough, your next stop is here, Tunfing Bridge, and then Chunnington. I remember there used to be another station here, but I removed it. I think part of that plan was I was going to move this station up a little bit more as well. I mean, it's not essential, but I think that was going to be it, and I was going to rename it Tunfing Bridge Cornley. Oh well, that's not important. It really isn't important. Chunnington. It's going to be your next port of call. I was just thinking, actually, aren't we supposed to have some more? Yeah, we are. Also, I'm getting rid of this airport express service. It's not necessary. Not right now, anyway. In the future, we're going to have some trains running. More Javelins running from north to south through GSG. Great Barnville. So right now, this track here is going to get overgrown again. There are still services that run from Punfingford via the Bay platform. They run down to Shoreham Junction. So it does still exist, just not the high-speed line that we were used to, let's say. Do we stop at Punfingford afterwards? No, we stop at Keybourne Cross, but I think we do still go via. So you are a non-stop via, and you are a non-stop via. We stop at Keybourne Cross, and then we go through Sindwood. Yeah, we don't stop at Sindwood, but we do stop at Honingville, obviously. I just need to check. You slow line, Keybourne Cross, or if next stop is Punfingford. So I'm going to change that actually to Sindwood. Or if next station is Keybourne Cross, or if next order is Punfingford. Because none of the fast trains are going to stop at any of these three stations, so it doesn't really matter which ones the slow ones stop at, as long as they don't get in the way of other slow trains, which they shouldn't do. So it's okay. Right, Honingville North. Do we then stop at all of these? We do. So we Stop at Munbridge, which I'm going to rename now. Munbridge. And then we stop at Slimwell Ridge. And then we stop up here. At Narfingburg Springs. Timetable, we know the drill by now. First things first. Oh, not manual number. Buffered. 250 all the way down, apart from here where it's 2500. GSG where it's 750. Narfingburg Springs there where it's also 750, and this GSG where it is 750. And then for the speeds, 100 all the way down, and then this is 30, 45. I think this one's 45 as well, is it not? So I think it's actually supposed to be 45. I think I set the other one for 60. Yeah, after Plint Bridge, but it's not. I think it is 45. Which means down this end, it's also 45. It's hard to tell, because I think the ones that go through GSG and through Guard Lake, I think they go a little bit faster down this stretch, so we might end up holding those up. We'll have to see, won't we? Yeah, I did 60 going back as well, which is not right. 45. Which means down here you are also 45. Right, you are 30, 45, and you get the idea. 35, 45, all the way across. Until we get to Plint Bridge, where it goes to 60, and then we jump up to 100, and then once we hit here we drop down to 60 again, cross lines, back up to 100, and then it's 100 right the way up to Great Barnville, where it drops to 60 again, because there's every chance that there's line changes involved. 60, and then Honningville South, it's also 60 and 60, and then here I think again it's 60 all the way through. So I think this one is actually 45, and then it's 60s. This one here is 15. This one here is 30, and then this one is 60. This one was fairly easy to do, I would say. There's less deviations. The majority of the time it's just 100, bar 1 or 2 here or there. $60, your Munbridge, so you are still 60. And then here it drops to 45 to go into Honningville. Out of Honningville it's 60. So there, where it's 60 into the airport. 60 out of the airport. Donborough South box, it's 60. And then here it drops to 60 to go into Plint Bridge, and then it's 45 out of Plint Bridge, and then it's 45 all the way along here. That one's 30 actually. This one's 15. This one's 30. I mean, this isn't the most exciting thing in the world. I think we've established that in the past. Some people do like watching trains get put out on the line though, and I know a few people have asked me about how I timetable trains. I don't think my way is the best way for the way that this game's been designed, but I do think if you want realism stakes, this is the way to do it. If you want your trains to work absolutely perfectly every single time, perhaps this isn't the way to go about it. It's entirely up to you. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, now the excitement begins, because we start on a new voyage. Our first train's to run out of Honningville, of which there will probably be quite a few in the future. Let me scroll down just a second. Try and work out where we're running from exactly. Honningville, Frondingville, Little Prunton, Warnbridge, Mumpool. Okay, I don't think we run over the big bridge. That's what I was looking out for. I don't think that happens, unfortunately. We're going to use probably the Electra Star. Again, I'm still a little bit miffed that there aren't any fixed formation electric trains that are just suburban. Like, you got the Desiros here. These are the 185. They're actually diesel trains. You got the Class 91, which is an express train. You've got the APTs, which are express, although their maximum speed is wrong. You've got the Eurostars, all of the Eurostars, and then you've got the Pendolinos, and then the Javelin. They're all electric trains, they're all fixed formation, but they're all express trains. There are no local trains, which really bugs me. When you look at all the variations we've got here, the 150s, the 151s, the 153s, the 155s, 6s, 8s, 9s, 170s, 180s, 185s, they're all fixed formation diesel trains. The only ones we've got are things like this, the Stadler Flirt, which we could actually use. There is nothing stopping us from using these particular trains. Do you know what? I'm very tempted to use the single story Flirt for this particular service, because there are Flirts coming to the UK, and they're going to be used on the Greater Anglia franchise, which is currently run by Abellio, I think. Sounds right. All these trains are useless. The Class 66 perhaps not, but I mean the Genesis, we're going to get rid of these. Yeah, we're going to keep the... That's not British, is it? No, it might be actually. It's got good stats. Might keep that. Might keep the British ones and get rid of all the rest, apart from the Cargo Sprinter, because we do kind of need that. Should we keep you? I mean, what do you look like? Are you a single car? You're not. Yeah, okay, we'll keep you. Hunter, go. 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 Go, 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 go. Get rid of these rail buses as well. I might keep this. It's quite quirky. It's not really good for anything, but it's quite quirky. So I might keep that. What are you? Are you a carriage or are you a train? No, you're an actual locomotive. Do you hold anything? 48 passengers. Interesting. Might might keep these as well, because I think power wise actually they're not that great. There's the 58, class 66. Now the 66s are supposedly some of the most powerful locomotives in the country. Alright, yeah, okay. I think my mind's made up. I was looking to see these as well, because these could be quite handy for express services, especially this one, because it's an 8-unit train, but it holds 480 people. So I might end up using that, maybe for something like open access. Are you electric? You are. You've got the little electric symbol, and you hold how many people? 324, and you can go 100 miles an hour. Or there's this one which holds less people. Yeah, okay, I think we might start looking at some foreign trains. I wasn't going to, because it's not that realistic, really, but yeah, definitely worth looking into. Even having some of these ice trains. And then there's these, of course. I mean, these hold lots of people, but they are double-decker trains. So we could, in theory, have some double-decker trains running on this section of the route, but I was thinking of saving these for the coastal route, which we're going to be building in the near future. Because I do remember saying that the coastal route will have... It's an extension of the Western Reaches line, which is double-decker. It's built to European loading gauges, so I think we'll save it for that. So, after all that... It wasn't really deliberation. After all that dithering, we're just going to go with the single-decker Stadler Flirt. There we go. Nice and easy. Pin U. And we want the longest one available, which is 5 parts. And then we're going to clone U, and we're going to stick U on the back. So it's a 5-tile long train, which should be, actually, for this one, I think we're going to go with the 3 parts. Yeah, because this is like a little local service, really. It's an all-stopper. So you're going to start off up here, which actually, I think this needs to be bigger. I think we're going to have lots of trains running in and out of Honingville. I mean, we've got 6 platforms here. And we could always add some more in this direction. Alright, hang on. Bear with me. We're going to increase the size of this this depot. So I think the first thing we need to do is lower all of this land and find out how far we can drag this over there. So that comes across like this. That is Honingville Train Care entry. Like so. Goes out. I'm going to save the game really quickly actually as well whilst we're here, because I really don't want to lose any of what we've done so far. There we are. You come across like that. Get rid of you. Do that. Get rid of that. Next up is this. Now with this is going to be a very staggered, I mean this bit's not important anyway, but this section here is going to be quite staggered, so that we can get more trains. So like that, and then you're going to come down like that. What am I talking about staggered so we can get more trains? It's staggered so that we can get more lines in, like that, 4. And I think we'll just have these as no, I nearly compromised then. Should never compromise. Always stick with your original idea. So in that sense, these are going to be 5 long, because the longest flirts are only 5 tiles. So that's fine. You are going to have a signal on, like that. These look like they're only 5 long as well, actually. Oh no, they are 6. But actually, no, yeah, okay. Hang on. Let's try speaking English, shall we? I'm going to leave those as 6 because we might get some longer trains in the future. If we get some 91s running from here, which we could well do, if we have an express service between Honningville and Gronwell, that could happen. So I'm going to leave that be for now. I'm also going to lower all this. It will get fixed, don't worry. I will fix it all up. So that's going to go like that, and then like so. That's all done. Let's finish off all of this like so, and then we're going to have that and that, that and that, and that there like that, and then here you're going to come across like that, you're going to come across like that, and like that. And that one, it doesn't look like it is connected, but I can assure you it is. It's just a case of that isn't going to work. So we're going to do this. Like so. Like that. And then here is going to be our train storage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now we can put everything back moderately to how it was. Like so, and then here we're going to run this across like that. And then over time the greenery shall return. I might give it a little bit of a bump start. Just plant some random trees. We kind of want to hide this away anyway. It's a bit of a blot on the landscape to have a train care depot in the middle of the forest here. So yeah, right. Let's put some trains in now, shall we? So first up we want the Flirt, which is down a bit further there. Stadler Flirt. It's going to be the shortest one available, which is the 3-part. Then we're going to clone you, and we're going to drag you up like so. Right. You're going to go to here. And then you're going to come over here, across this bridge, into the platforms here at Honningville. And then on the way back, you're going to go up there, and then into that depot. Your service, your no loading, no unloading, you are unload, no loading. Right, when you leave Honningville, you're going to go via here, and then you're going to go via here. When you return to Honningville, you're going to go via here, and you're going to go via here. Like so. Now your next stop is Frondingville, isn't it not? Yes, it is. So you are going to stop here twice. You're then going to continue up the hill, and you're going to stop at Little Prunton twice. I'm still not a huge fan of this hill. I think it's quite steep. This is, I think this actually climbs up more than the northwest trunk line does before it reaches Mewood. But we do need to climb up the hill, otherwise we can't stop at Warnbridge. Although here it is a step down again. I am tempted to rebuild this stretch and miss out Little Prunton altogether. So you go through Frondingville, and then it will come just across this way, and then through a set of tunnels that will come out right before Warnbridge. That might end up being better. We don't know yet. What we do know though is we're going to go via here twice, and then we're going to go via Warnbridge twice. I quite like Warnbridge Airport. I like how it's been built. Normally I don't like sort of cramming things on hillsides, but I like the fact that the airport is as far away from the town as possible. You then have a whole load of platforms here. You've got the main line that comes in this side and goes out this side. You then got the I don't know what this line is. I haven't actually done that yet. I need to add the naming lists. It will be up by the time you watch this video, but at the time of recording I haven't done that yet. I'm also tempted, the reason these platforms are here is to build another little like commuter line that sort of snakes its way through one bridge and then maybe heads along this way. I haven't decided that yet. It could end up happening, it could not, but the sidings are there just in case. Anyway, after Warnbridge, next stop is Munpool, which is here. So this is pretty much the all-stopping service. Sarborn was next, wasn't it? Oh no, Cadstone is next. Where's Cadstone? There. Do you know what? I'm actually going to add in Sarborn. This is going to be the all-stopper. So was it Sarborn? Oh, no. And 250. Okay, and then after Sarborn, your next stop is Cadstone. And then through the tunnel to Cunfingway, which is on here, good. And then over the bridge, so we do go over the bridge. I don't think we would, but we do. And then your next stop is at Fenningstone. And then Prideston Bay. Fort Greeningworth Falls, yep. Cool. Maybe I just missed out Sarborn when I was planning out the journey. Flumfing Bridge, yep. Okay, and then here we go to Ponfingberg Airport. Sorry, Ponberg Airport. And then over to here to Rundingston Bay. Yep. Gonna need to rename all these. And then finally up here to Flinningwell Ridge. Like so. Let's rename these while I'm here. Especially when it's got things like Builder's Yard. That is going to be Ponberg Airport still, even though Ponberg, I suppose, yeah, no, it is right. I might upgrade the airport size, or decrease the size of the plane that lands there, and take out hotel from here. Now I can't remember if I did this on camera or not, but I've added a new line in here from Training Hall, and we will have a service that runs from Training Hall into Ponberg Airport and then runs up along that way, so that we're not duplicating routes, because that can be marginally inefficient to do that. Anyway, we need to come back over here because we need to map out the timetable. Now the good news is this is a bit like what we had with the last train, where in actuality the speed limits at least are quite easy to do. The timetable for stops is very easy to do. This is 750. At least it should be, and is. Flinningwell Ridge, which is there, is also 750. There's loads of other stations that I need to rename. Off camera, I'll go around, I'll rename them, and I will decorate them, put eye candy and stuff whilst I'm doing that. Right, speed limit is 100. Except obviously in and around depot limits. This is from, yeah, pretty much 15 the whole way, which doesn't really feel right, but it can't be any faster because we're going into terminus platforms. So it's only really across this bridge where it's going to be an inconvenience for trains that are going straight through. We'll come to a solution, I'm sure. Anyway, out of Honningville you go at 30 until you hit this waypoint where you hit 60, and that's what takes you across there and then onto this main line, and then once you hit this one you go to 100. Once you hit the one bridge waypoint you drop from 100 down to 60, and here you remain at, actually I think it's 75, isn't it, for I suppose if there's line changes I think 60 is the maximum you can go. Like that, and then it's there, isn't it? So it's 60, 60. If I work at this end backwards, actually it'd probably be easier. 15. You are 30. And you are 60. The only other issue I have is right the way over here, Fort Grainingworth to Flumphing Bridge. I think I'm actually going to have a 75 miles per hour because there is this divergence. Again, in the real world, I'd say that 75 is more than realistic for certain sets of points. It's too slow to go 60 because there will be trains wanting to go 100 along this section. But even leaving Ponberg, I think it should be 45. And the same with arriving at Ponberg, because there is a scissors crossing just before the tunnel that leads into the station. Over here. So I think, yeah, that's fairly reasonable, fairly realistic. And then after Flumphing Bridge it goes up to 75. And then it's 100 all the way along here until we hit here where it drops to 60. And here where it drops to 60. Now again, this one here is 15, which means this one here is 30. So this one here is going to have to be 60. That feels like quite a long distance between Fondingville and this slowdown point. I feel like adding another waypoint. So pin that a second. We'll put it in about there. Orders. Scroll this down. So it's after Fondingville. There. Unpin you. Okay, so here we can go 100, and then it's 60, 30, 15. This one here is 30, 15, and 10. Autofill you. I'll do the number of cars per unit is 3, number of units per train is 2, and we want 7 trains running on this route. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, I want to get the rest of this done within this episode, but I can tell already that it's going to take a long time. So I'm going to time-lapse the rest of this episode and just do some commentary over the top. Hopefully everyone's happy with that. It means we can get it done a hell of a lot quicker. So I'm going to stop the talking here. Also means I can rest my voice a little bit, which is always nice. But as for you guys, I will be talking to you again in just a second. So until then, let's get some music started. Let's get some speeded footage, and I will talk to you guys again in just a second. Alright guys, we are back. We are in time-lapse mode. The music should be playing, providing I've managed to get the get myself in gear. I don't know what it is at the moment. I know I'm a little bit under the weather, but my mind should still work, and I just keep making stupid mistakes, and I don't really know why. So yeah, that's kind of my pre-advanced warning. If anything a bit stupid happens in this video, that's pretty much the reason why. As far as I'm aware though, I managed to get all these trains timetabled properly, so that's all good. basically, we're running stopper services and semi-fast services along the northern route at the moment. So this is a service that runs between Honningville and, can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It's one of the ones where it goes up through. Is it one of the ones where it goes up through Pomberg? No, it's not. This one I think actually goes to Beffing Way, thinking about it. And it runs along the express tracks. Yes, it does. This is the one that goes to, or it goes through Beffing Way. I think it actually goes beyond. Yes, it does. There are a couple of branch lines on the northern route that I haven't yet set services for. They will be done, possibly off camera, over the next couple of weeks, just so that every single station along this northern route is served by at least one service. I've had a long hard look at the UK rail system and how service patterns are determined, and that's helped a lot in creating the service patterns for these particular main routes. The idea really is, if you look at a line like the East Coast Main Line, at the southern end it's only served by two operators really, Virgin East Coast and Great Northern. From next year, I believe, I think it's next March, Thameslink will also join the party. Thameslink will start serving Cambridge and Peterborough, with other stops along the way, but that's technically still part of Great Northern. It's Thameslink Great Northern is the name of the franchise. So it's still only two companies that serve the lower end of the East Coast Main Line. I'm not counting open access, because even with open access, Hull trains, I think the first stop is Doncaster, and Grand Central I think is the same. So anything north of Peterborough, you know, that's sort of the central region, but I'm talking about the southern end of it, into King's Cross and up as far as Peterborough. It's only two operators, and even then Virgin trains only serve Stevenage and Peterborough. So it's quite limited really. Even with Great Northern there are certain patterns, so there are trains that go from London, King's Cross to Cambridge non-stop. There are some that stop at Stevenage and then Royston. Letchworth I think is on the list. There are trains that terminate at Letchworth. There are some that go on as far as Cambridge and then even up as far as King's Lynn. There are trains like the ones I get, which are they go King's Cross, Finsbury Park, Potter's Bar, Hatfield, Welwyn Garden City, and then pretty much every station from there all the way up to Huntingdon or Peterborough. And then there's the Moorgate trains, which are pretty much every station between Moorgate and Welwyn Garden City on the Welwyn branch, or Moorgate and Stevenage on the Hertford branch. Hertford North I think it is. Hertford East is on the line out of Lime Street, Liverpool Street. So that's the southern end. Then you've got the central section, which is served by Virgin, East Coast, technically Great Northern if you're going to count Peterborough, East Midlands trains, Hull trains, Grand Central, and I think Northern as well. And that's, I'm counting that as the section between Peterborough and York. And I think there might even be some more services that go through York. TransPennine Express I believe goes to York as well. And then you have the northern end, which is between York and Newcastle, let's say, which is Virgin again, Grand Central, Northern, TransPennine Express and ScotRail. And then if you go a little bit further north of that, the upper northern, which is basically Scotland, ScotRail and all the other sort of Scottish rail franchises. I think ScotRail is the main one actually, but then you also have again Northern, TransPennine, Virgin, and I think Grand Central do run. Actually no, I don't think they do. I think they're planning on running some services up to Edinburgh. GNER is returning, by the way, Great North Eastern Railway. I think they're going by a slightly different name, but it's abbreviated to GNER. They're joining the party in 2021. I think that was the case. Let me just check that. GNER 2021. And they're working as open operator. Yeah, 2021. They're going to be serving Stevenage, Newcastle and Morpeth on the line between King's Cross and Edinburgh. So I'm kind of trying to replicate that. So at the southern end of the line we've got Guard City Great Northern, and we've got what was the other one called? I think it was just called Great Northern, but at the moment it's just Guard City Great Northern, and that includes the express services as well that run the whole way up the route. They still come under the one franchise. On the central section between Honingville and Beffingway we're also going to have North Rail, and then also from Beffingway to Gronwell we're going to have North Rail, and they're going to be the ones that serve all the spur branches and the main trunk route as well. The service pattern is a little bit sporadic at the moment. Some trains are all stopper, some trains are semi-fast. The only express trains are still the two services that we had from episode 200, so there's nothing really new there, although I will start introducing new services using some more of the European style trains between GSG and Gronwell, and also between GSG and, you might have noticed after Beffingway, when the line goes from 4 down to 2, there is that triangular junction. I think I mentioned this in episode 200 anyway. That triangular junction is meant to connect up with the line that runs from the northern branch of the Guard City Great Eastern main line. And there will be a big interchange station somewhere along that route, possibly where the high speed line connects with it. And that will be where the... Actually, is it where the high... Yeah, I suppose it is where the high speed line connects up with it. And that will be where the other expresses from GSG go. So they kind of would... They do a big U shape almost. That does happen in real life. If you look at some of the cross-country services especially. Because I did wonder with the first cross-country service that I planned out. The fact that it starts at Denston, ends up at Beffingway, and then like the first part of it is it going all the way west to Plindon, and then from Plindon it goes up to Mewood, and then it runs east all the way along to Beffingway. And I did look at that and think, am I just doing that just so that there's a line that runs up towards Mewood and a service that is provided along that route? And to be honest, originally I thought yes, I've only done it for the sake of it. But then I started looking at some of the current and original cross-country routes in the UK, and there are a couple. They're not complete U-shapes, but there are a couple where they've had to take certain lines in order to be able to avoid London. Because when Virgin had the cross-country franchise, it did operate services from Euston, and it also operated services from, I think it was Paddington, as part of the cross-country franchise. Now obviously they don't have the franchise anymore, and those services have now been incorporated into Virgin West Coast, particularly the ones that come from Euston. I won't be doing that at this moment. I might do it in the future, but some of the original cross-country routes, you look at the ones that go from Newcastle to Reading via Birmingham, there is kind of a deviation U-shape. It's more of an L shape, I suppose, in that respect. There's ones from Piccadilly down to Brighton, I think, although I don't think Brighton serves cross-country anymore, or cross-country serves Brighton, I should say. But there are a couple. I think there's one where it does like an S shape as well. Edinburgh down to Penzance, for Aberdeen to Penzance is the route. That does do an S shape because it goes. It starts off at Edinburgh, which is right up on the north east coast, and then it runs down through Newcastle and Edinburgh. Did I say Edinburgh? I meant Aberdeen. Starts up in Aberdeen, which is right up on the northeast coast, runs through Edinburgh, down through Newcastle, and then it follows the same route as Newcastle to Reading, which involves going via Birmingham New Street. So at that point it runs from the northeast coast down to the Midlands, and then it heads pretty much due south, I think it is, between Birmingham and Reading, and then it heads out west again. That's technically an S shape. So, you know, I'm thinking of adapting one or two of the services, perhaps to fit the map a little bit better. At the time I just wanted some cross-country services, but I will tailor them in the future, excuse me, to be a little bit more realistic. And that will include the second cross-country service that we did up to Sunnington, I'm tempted to route that one through Moningpool Falls instead, and then up the coastal route. And then the first route that we planned out, I'm tempted to have that go through Moningpool Falls and then down the coastal route to the south, or maybe just adding additional services that take that path. That's the great thing about this map that we never really had in the past, is the flexibility is there. There's like 2 or 3 ways to get from most major stations. Particularly now we've added the cross-city route up to the north. We've got the overground loop that runs to the south, and we've also got the freight loop that runs around to the west side of Greater Guard City. It makes life so much easier to plan particular services that don't necessarily have to go through the centre of Guard City. What that has also meant is Centre Rail, which is the line that runs between GSG and GSMA, is very underutilised, which is why I'm planning on adding more Javelin services that run first of all between Beffingway and stations to the south like Fort Flonwood, but also have a service that runs from Gronwell right up in the top right corner of the map, the northeast corner, right the way down through Guard City to the southwest corner, and see how well that works. But that is all talk for the future, I'm afraid, because this episode is pretty much at its end. You can see me planning in the last 2 services there, the DMUs from Gronwell. They are wearing northern livery, which North Rail is pretty much going to adopt. So it's not going to be Northern Rail like it is in real life, it's going to be called North Rail on this particular map. But that is it for this episode. Next episode we are starting to build the southern leg of the coastal route. I've planned that we're going to finish it next episode, but that might be a little unrealistic, so you'll have to bear with me on that one. But until then guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and of course if you're enjoying the series, drop some comments down below with ideas for future episodes. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you have already subscribed to the channel, thank you guys for your continued support. I know it's died down a little bit since episode 200, but things will pick up again with big building projects and planning out plenty of trains. So once again guys, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.